All right, guys, we're getting this live. Give me a few minutes, you guys, to actually get everything set up here. We have a great topic today. We're talking about the global currency war and change coming to my people. Okay, I think we live. I think we live. What's going on, you guys? How you guys doing? This is EB Crypto coming from Santo Domingo. You guys see downtown Santo Domingo behind me, but I'm by way of Los Angeles, and particularly Compton, California is my home, is where I'm from, dumb diddy dumb. But I want you guys to like and subscribe to this channel. I want you guys to, and particularly, hit that bell, that notify bell, so you guys will be notified whenever I come live. And, you know, it's some serious times that we in right now, as you guys can see what's going on. Recently, about a month ago, I think a month or so, the Fed, the Federal Reserve, which, by the way, is not a part of this government. You guys need to know that. The Federal Reserve is not a part of this government. So for a short time, we have our master course in the cryptocurrency college for 50% off. We've already did our first 10 students, and by popular demand, we're bringing it back. I think we're going to just do it for 1 month and give people 50% off, because it's imperative for us to teach our people money. It's okay that we know sports. It's okay that we know math. We know all these other subjects, engineering, and we know we're doctors now, we're lawyers, but none of us have really been taught the intricate details and the real basics even about money. So Family Cash Machine prides itself with teaching our people not just about money, but about the 6 characteristics of money versus the 5 characteristics of currency. And there is a difference. And they've always used currency to trick us to think it's money. But today, we're going to be in for a rude awakening. I want to show you guys a small clip today of one of my favorite economists. This guy is world renowned, known, and his name is Jim Rickards. And I also like Mike Maloney and Peter Schiff. I like his input when in regards to money and economies. He's got that right. He's wrong about cryptocurrency though, because he's an older guy. I don't think he really grasps the fact of decentralized technology, which is just a whole huge industry that's really breaking the matrix of fundamental economics and fundamental financing in the way it has been practiced for so many centuries. Well, anyway, we're going to go into a small clip. I want you guys to hear just 2 minutes, and that's going to set the tone for what I'm going to talk about today, because change is coming to my people. Whether they want it or not, change is coming. And it's a good change, but it's a whole lot of negative that's going to have to happen before we get to the positive. Usually, you have to hit rock bottom before you go to the top, you know. And so I wanted to share Jim Rickards' 2-minute insert with you guys about what's happening in the world, because recently in China, millions of individuals' bank accounts, the funds have been depleted. And there's been riots in China over this. There's been civil unrest, anarchy, and pretty much almost revolution. And this is not anything uncommon. This has happened so many times around the world, but it's not highlighted, you know? And yes, China is a communist country, but it's interesting that in a communist country, over the last 20 years, China has increased the percentage of millionaires. And China has increased, in a communist country, its percentage of billionaires to a point where they're about to surpass the United States of America with the numbers of total millionaires and numbers of total billionaires. In a communist country, they're having more financial corporate progression than we are. But right now, there's been a huge dilemma in banking. And this is one of the reasons why we have cryptocurrency and why Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever this person was who created Bitcoin, nobody never seen him. They talk to him on emails, but he's never been seen. They don't have a clue who he is. There's a fake Satoshi Nakamoto who they found up in the Bay Area. Definitely not him, because when they got that guy, he lived within a few blocks from Nick Szabo, Hal Finney, who received the first Bitcoin. So that really made them feel like, oh my God, this is a real Satoshi, but it's not him. Because this particular person, when he got obtained by the law enforcement, the real Satoshi Nakamoto sent his last email and said, I'm not Dorian Satoshi Nakamoto. He actually sent his last email when they captured that guy. So that's not him. Nobody's seen him. Nobody knows what he looked like. Homeland Security, Secret Service, Israeli Mossad, MI6, all of these secret agencies, they don't have a clue who this person is. He just vanished. And that is very brilliant to do. It's actually almost miraculous for somebody to just vanish from the face of the earth with all the technology and satellites and all the different surveillance things they have. This person was highly intelligent or somewhat divinely sent, I think. So again, China has just basically stolen millions of people's money out of the banks, and $16 billion have been missing. Nobody can pull money out the accounts. I think they limit everybody to like $150 a day. And some individuals lost millions of dollars, and I haven't really seen a lot of news coverage of it because this is going to happen in the United States. Now, let me go ahead and play briefly. We're going to go ahead and play Jim Rickards, and then we're going to go ahead and let me make sure and we're going to go ahead and talk about this. So here it is right here. Let's go ahead and play this. It's only 2 minutes, so bear with me here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me for today's talk. There's an urgent situation unfolding in America, and today I'll unveil all the unnerving details. So let's get started with a critical question. Where were you on March 9th, 2022, when President Biden signed the death warrant on American freedom? On that day, in a hush ceremony at the White House, without the approval of Congress, the states, or the American people, Biden signed into law Executive Order 14067. Buried in his order are a few paragraphs titled Section 4. The language in Section 4 makes Order 14067 the most treacherous act by a sitting president in the history of our republic, because Section 4 sets the stage for legal government surveillance of all U.S. citizens, total control over your bank accounts and purchases, and the ability to silence all dissenting voices for good. In this new war on freedom, the Dems aren't coming for your guns. No, they're thinking much bigger than that. They're coming for your money. And it's already started. Hi, my name is Jim Rickards. I'm a former advisor to the Pentagon, the White House, Congress, the CIA, and the Department of Defense. I'm also an attorney, investment banker, and author of 7 books on currencies and international economics. When places like Fox, CNBC, or Bloomberg want to know what's about to shake up the global economy, they call me. Most of all, like you, I'm a proud American patriot. The disturbing predictions you're about to see are based on my independent research and my contacts in the intelligence community. I've never made this kind of public announcement before.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. You guys get the picture. So basically, they're setting us up to fail. Joe Biden has signed a bill, Executive Order 14067, that gives governments the right to confiscate your money in the bank. Wow. And they signed this bill under an innocuous sounding bill of the digital asset resolution or something like they're protecting us with cryptocurrency. But inside of this bill is a most sinister plan. And they've already been surveying us, but they want to really put more effort on surveillance, monitoring transactions. And they've signed a bill to be able to just control all the money in your bank because they're getting ready to go to a digital currency. They're getting ready to get rid of currencies, all in all, fiat currencies, the paper money, and go to a digital system. And I know some people might say, well, we already have debit cards in a digital system. No, this is going to be quite different. This will be a digital coin, not a cryptocurrency, but a digital centralized coin that they can basically shut off and on whenever they want. If you read that bill, inside it says they will silence forever any dissenting voices. Now, if you guys remember during the pandemic, they had called the owners of YouTube and Google and Facebook and Twitter, Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, all of these individuals, they called them to Congress and they told them, don't let anyone say anything against the main message of what the media and what the government is putting out about this pandemic. And they started censoring people and they started blocking people, and thousands of people lost their channels because they were allowing their platform to be utilized by doctors and scientists and biologists and immunologists. All these different people were given, different contrary, they were given different contrary notices and stories and facts about what was being given to us, and they started silencing people. Very dangerous when you start attacking the freedom of speech, which was one of our first constitutional rights, is the freedom to express yourself, the freedom to assembly. And so that particular pandemic was used to annihilate a lot of our rights so they can move closer to this, what's going on. Now, I did a video months ago, you guys need to watch, called The Global Reset, where I talked about this digital currency that they want to put into play. But they're late right now. I don't want to scare you guys. I'm not trying to spook you out, nothing like that. I'm just giving you some facts. This is why it's imperative for you to start learning about cryptocurrency. Crypto comes from the word encryption. So you don't have all of your value in the banks. Now, Bitcoin, for the last 11 years, cryptocurrency in general been doing this. Now, even though right now Bitcoin has went from 69,000 to 23,000, 2 years ago, it was 9,000. So again, it does dips, but an 11-year period is an uptrend. So therefore, you can't lose long-term, okay? You can't lose long-term. Again, like I said, yes, it dipped right now, but if you'd have bought Bitcoin 2 years ago, it was 9,000. A year before that, it was 3,000. So how would you have lost at 23,000 today? So again, you want to have your revenue and your value. See, this is not about really currency. It's a currency war going on right now. And they're trying to put everybody on this one digital currency. And they're going to have that 22, 23, whatever ID they want. They have your medical records. They have your criminal records, your credit, everything, your banking, all on one digital system. Now, the problem with that is central banks will control that. Not the government, but central banks. We've never dealt with the central banks. The people have never dealt with central banks. Now, I started off this saying change is coming to my people. And it is change coming because there's options and there's ways out. If you understand what's happening, there's so many ways that you can make money while they're transitioning to this new system. And that's where the change is coming. The change first has to start in their mindset. The change has to first come with the consciousness of what's going on. The change must first come with what you do every day and how you change your behavior and change how you're moving and just change your whole way that you think about money. Because we never were taught about money. We were never really taught about how money really operates. And when they teach you in school, they make it sound so complicated to where you're just like, oh my God, I'll let the government and the banks figure all this technical stuff. It's not that hard. America has had a currency for the last 70 years that has been the dominant currency in the world. I don't think nobody watching this video, I don't think there's anyone watching this video right now that has not been living at a time when the American dollar was not the dominant dollar in the world. It's been the dominant dollar in the world since the Bretton Woods, 1940 something, they decided to make the United States dollar the dominant dollar because we, quote unquote, had more gold in Fort Knox backing our dollar. Not the case today. Then in the 70s, it was brilliant of Harry Kissinger to go to Saudi Arabia and to negotiate with the Arabs to only sell oil for US dollars, which gave birth to what they call the petrodollar. And this is why you see all of these wars only happening in oil-rich countries and United States occupancy in oil-rich companies because they need that oil to back the dollar. That's changing. Now Saudi Arabia is doing business with Russia. Russia has a huge amount of oil. They're directly dealing with China. China's the #2 consumer of oil now, or gas, in the world, and they're directly dealing with Russia. Recently, Russia and China, and it wasn't in the news the last couple of days, decided to bring their digital currency together. They're going to create a digital currency, Russia and China together. Now, why is this big news? Again, you guys have never lived in a day where the US dollar was not the dominant dollar in the world. That's about to change. You guys think violence and crime is bad now. If you notice, since the economy has took a turn for the worse, so has social activity, social degeneration, so has crime, so has robbery. You see it all over the country, murder. All of this stuff now is increasing because of the currency wars and the fall of the US dollar. All of this is decreasing because of the debt that's accumulating in the US and the inflation of the dollar, because it's costing more and more money to do the same thing, and the depreciation of jobs, which have went over the Philippines, India, China, and a lot of these third world countries have a lot of the jobs now because it's cheaper to pay them. So all these different undergirding currents that's happening, you got to start rethinking what you're doing. You have to start planning for the future. You have to start educating yourself about money. There used to be a time we didn't have to really know about money because, again, we had the dominant currency in the world. Now, I don't know a knowledge more relevant that you should learn than the knowledge of money. Now, cryptocurrency is not all about money. Some people say, well, cryptocurrency, they making their own money. No, we're making our own value. And our people have more value than anybody on this planet because most of the inventions in the world, from medicine to science to chemistry to mathematics, all came out of Africa. That's not a racist statement. That's not a biased statement. That is archaeological facts, biblical facts, Quranic facts, historical facts, anywhere you want to cut it. All of the sciences in the world came out of Africa. I'm finding out today that the Lone Ranger story was even behind a black man who went to Oklahoma. I forget his name, but I was reading about that today. So there's so many different things that we introduced to the world. You wouldn't even have the internet. The WWW, you wouldn't have that if it wasn't for black scientists. We wouldn't have never went to the moon if it wasn't for those black women that were mathematicians. You saw the movie. So there's so many different things that we've created that's been swept under the rug to make us feel inferior, like we don't have no value. So cryptocurrency is not about money, it's about value. And we're harnessing our value, and we're creating value, and we're tokenizing that value in a decentralized manner where banks and governments can't control it, can't disrupt it, and we can be decentralized in a sense where there's no centralized authoritative figure holding us back, monitoring us, stagnating us, suffocating us, and suppressing us from rising to the top of what we are, the cream of the crop. That's what we are. We dominate every industry that they let us get into. Talk black to me. We dominate every industry that they allow us to get into. Dominate any sport, any field that they allow us to get into, because we are the dominant force. So it's a day coming now where we can break off from the system and create our own decentralized structures of finance, our own decentralized structures of ideas even. With NFTs, it's showing you guys that not only can you create these art, but you can pay into that art cash. You can pay value into that art. You can transact into that art through coding. So what about ideas? Ideas are also capable of being harnessing value, and that value being accumulated from the public and deposited in that idea. Wow. Imagine that. Imagine having an idea and you put it in encryption, put it through the blockchain. So now hundreds of millions of people see that code. It's dated, it's stamped. Nobody can steal it because there's 100 million witnesses who have wallets, and more people every day making wallets on that particular blockchain, which gives them full access of the whole ledger where everybody can see everything going on there. They may not know your name, but your idea is encrypted and it's on that blockchain and nobody can steal it. Do you know how valuable that one thing is to my people? Because I can't count. If you go and look at the Black inventors, there's a whole encyclopedia called the Black inventors, and you won't believe how many thousands of ideas the society have right now, from the elevator to the carburetor, that contribute to this society and the world as a whole. But we're made to think that we're so inferior and we're so worthless to where we don't have a problem treating each other like a piece of crap because we don't know all the contributions we made. We've been robbed of that. So with this particular technology, it can rewrite history. It can change the course of history. It can change how things are done because there's no conqueror that's controlling the narrative. The narrative now can be distributed on a decentralized ledger that anybody connected to that ledger has access to. Wow, this is a phenomenal, groundbreaking technology that has implications on not just changing money, but changing the distribution of money, changing the hands of power, changing the way corporations are done, because now you can have a decentralized, autonomous organization instead of a corporation, meaning that your company is now on the blockchain, meaning that all of your CEOs, they get their distribution of value automatically sent to them. There's no banking. All of your bills can be paid through smart contracts. All of your executives and all of your investors can be paid through smart contracts, and all the functions of your company could be programmed and coded. Wow. So now you don't have to wait for the CEO to write the checks. Now you don't have to wait for a checking company to distribute checks. Now you don't have to wait for banking. Now you don't really have to even go by the rules of any law of any land. Because when you sign for a corporation, you're signing up to follow certain regulations of that particular landmass. But when you're virtual, it's freedom. It's total freedom, but it's automation. So nothing can disrupt your company. Nothing can stop your company. There's no regulations, but everything is being taken care of and ran autonomously. It's a whole different dynamics. I made this example to you guys before. Like I said, if there was a decentralized Uber, let's think about that. Uber disrupted, we know, it disrupted the taxi business, no question about it. It's an app. It's an app, but it's a centralized app because there's a few people that own it. So most of the value goes to them, then it's redistributed to the individuals. That's a semi-pseudo shared marketing. It's not decentralized. And let's say we had Goober on the blockchain. This is why you got to learn this technology. This is more than just Bitcoin. Bitcoin hadn't explored the technology. Bitcoin is the first, it's the grandfather. But Ethereum has now explored decentralization and blockchain technology. And this is why we have to, as my people, we have to adapt to the change, or we're going to get left behind, or we're going to get ran over by this sudden change of currencies and shift the power from the US dollar to, I don't know who's going to win this currency war, but I believe that the US dollar is going to lose because the debt is so high. They're going up on interest rates, going up, but they're not going to be able to cover the inflation. The inflation rate is moving faster than they can do interest rates up. It's not gonna be enough, and it's eventually gonna crash. And so China and Russia, they have gold. China and Russia for the last 20 years have accumulated a tremendous amount of gold. I think China went from 70 tons to 70,000 tons, and Russia did too. They have a lot of gold. They got uranium, they have plutonium, and they're now saying they're gonna back their digital currency with raw minerals, and Russia got a bunch of oil. They're gonna back their currencies, and they wanna de-dollarize the US dollar because the US dollar has been used for so many years as a weapon. They've weaponized it against other countries, but now their time is up. We're talking prophetic, we're talking biblical, we're talking, this is all in Revelations, it's going down. So that digitized dollar that America's trying to come out with is more of a control of its people, because imagine if you're saying stuff on the internet they don't like, they can hit one button and just exile you from finance. You won't be able to do any transactions. If they have all the transactions in one coin, if they have all of your value and your money and your finance in one coin, and there's one centralized force to control it, that's dangerous. They say power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So this is dangerous, and it could present some very, very difficult times for my people but if they understand and they start looking at what's happening and positioning themselves and moving a different way, it can be a great day for us, because we can come from under the yoke of bondage, under the yoke of financial regulations, under the yoke of financial suppression, under the yoke of corporation oppression and suppression, and create our own decentralized systems. Back to that Uber. Let's go to Goober. You know how Uber works. It's a shared application, but it's still one server. If somebody gets in that server, they'll have the information and data of millions of people. That's a centralized system. Okay, now let's say somebody creates Goober, a decentralized DApp, not an app, but a decentralized app where it's a blockchain. Blockchain means everybody who connects to this system has the entire ledger, meaning when you get a Bitcoin wallet and you go into Bitcoin's blockchain, you can actually see and go and find every single transaction that ever happened in Bitcoin. That's never been done before, where each individual to connect to the network can see the entire network from its beginning to today. You don't know who's who because it's just a bunch of digits. But the fact is, it's transparency. The fact is, there's no centralized point, meaning a center point of failure where someone can hack. And this is a huge problem today. This is a huge problem in the world, is hacking. Now, Goober creates an app, a DApp, okay? And anybody can connect to that DApp. Now you don't have a center point. There's no CEO, there's no server. So the value has nowhere to go but to everybody. So let's say I'm a driver. Now I'm directly connecting with a person that needs a ride. I don't have to use the center point called Uber. I'm directly contacting him. He's directly contacting me. Let's say Uber was charging $100 for this particular trip, and the driver typically get about $30. Okay, something like that, $25, $30. The rest of that money goes to the center force, the centralized app, the owners, the CEO, the server who owns the server, which is the CEOs. So 70% is going to the CEOs, 30% is going to the Uber drivers, which is probably more than taxi drivers was making. So it disrupted the taxi driver business. But let's say Goober, the decentralized app. Now by peer-to-peer, people dealing with each other peer-to-peer, guess what can happen? I can say, you know what, I'm only charging $75. Now the person that's riding, saving money. The guy who's connecting peer-to-peer with him made more, twice the amount that he made with Uber. You see that? Everybody's happy because you cut the middleman out. This technology is going to drastically change not just money, but the way business is being done. But governments are always trying to use technology to oppress, suppress, and control the people. That's what government means. Government means, it's from the two different words, German word, governe, which means control, and mit, which means mind. So government means to control the mind. That's what it means. And so with decentralization, moving these corporate CEOs out the way and redistributing the wealth to the people through decentralized autonomous organizations, this represents a huge diametric opposite from what we have, a total different paradigm shift. And I'm excited about it. And that's why I say change is coming to our people. And that's why we set up the family cash machine. And that's why we have our courses. And right now, you guys want to get the courses, the master course, for 50% off. Because this is not a knowledge you're just going to go and learn how this works. No, this is going to put you in position to make money right now, no matter what happens in the world, because you're not operating on old systems. You're coming into the new technology with a new mindset and a whole new direction and a new understanding of how to move. And you're not going to get caught up when they pull the rug on the banks, take your money and say, oh, we're going to use a new currency and all that old money's gone, but you're going to lose. And guess what? Whatever rules they come up with from that point, you're going to be forced to accept because they control all of your transactions. They control your money. They can hit one button if you don't agree and put you on a punishment for 2 weeks and you can't do no transactions. That's a horrible system. And I'm not looking forward to that kind of system. And the Bible talks about that kind of system. But guess what? I believe in God. I believe in His righteousness. I believe in angels. I believe that the power of light always overdo the power of darkness. And I'm on the side of light, and I want to bring my people into the light because light is knowledge. Wherever you look in the Bible, light is always compared to knowledge. Knowledge is always compared to light. So don't stay in the darkness because we're ahead. There's some dark days coming ahead. Okay. And like I said, there's a whole currency wars going on right now. Huge currency wars. And there's a thing called BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and I forget the other one, but they're all coming together to de-dollarize and to attack the United States dollar. And it's been happening for a while, but now it's really coming to a head. So you guys got to learn something different. This is the knowledge that you can never go wrong with learning about money. And you can never go wrong with investing in an information and knowledge that is an investment in you. This investment that you're going to make in cryptocurrency and the cryptocurrency courses, you're not going to just learn cryptocurrency. You're going to learn about how the global economics move. And it's not hard as they make it sound. They try to matriculate it and make it sound so difficult. It is so simple. I can teach a fifth grader when you really understand how money really works. The United States and most countries are operating on a debt system. Now that system is complicated because they have to always pull strings to manipulate it and keep it going. But real currency, real money, real value is very simple, okay? And so that's all we're gonna talk about today. Again, you guys, there's a currency war going on. It's real, it's happening. And Russia and China is coming together and they got a lot of power because China now is all over here where I'm at. They're all in South America. Go Google this. All these different phone companies in South America is Chinese companies. Cars, Chinese companies. Africa, Chinese companies, Chinese cars, Chinese technology, Chinese everything. They're taking over. And so it's a currency war, it's a technology war, and there's a war for control. But I'm telling you guys, the people have already a way out of it by decentralizing everything and coming into a knowledge where you could just unplug from the system. You don't have to go revolution. You don't have to do all of that stuff that the Black Panthers did. All you got to do is pull the plug out the wall and do something different. Just come out the matrix. It's that simple. That's all you got to do. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign out, you guys. It's EB, Crypto, Family Cash Machine, Follow the Money. And I want you guys, again, to like and subscribe to the channel. But most important, hit that bell so you can get a notification I'll probably go live tomorrow again. I'll never run out of stuff to talk about. There's so much happening in the world right now. I'll never run out of stuff to talk about. It's just a very, very unique time to be living in. There's a lot of opportunities, but there's also a lot of dark things happening. And you just got to know what's happening and know how to move and create your own future, because right now it's a time where you can actually create a whole different dynamics for yourself just by understanding money, understanding decentralization, the blockchain technology, and coming all the way out of that system. And like I said, we're never going to get rid of the banks. You're gonna have to deal with that system. But let's say they do hit a button and isolate you for 2 weeks because you said something or did something they didn't like. Well, guess what? You still got another way over here that you can operate, you can function, you can purchase things. You can always move around when you have something of value. Remember, this is not about money, it's about value. Controlling our own value. And Bitcoin is not money, it's value. It's a store of value. It's something that has stored value, and that value can be separated into currency or goods and service or whatever you want to get with it. And it's not just Bitcoin, it's 15,000 cryptocurrencies now, and a lot of them got a lot of value. And so with that, we're gonna sign up for the courses, get in touch with me, hit the link underneath there. The way you sign up for the course is to get on the Facebook page, like our Facebook page, and message me on the Facebook page, and we'll get you in those courses. Again, 50% off. We're only going to do that for a short time because we want to make more people aware of what's going on, and so they can save their families. They can maneuver when this currency really come out, this one world currency or whatever they're trying to do. But again, like I said, there's a currency war going on, but who's going to be the dominant? And I don't want to be caught up in that. I want to always have options that I can still maneuver and nobody controls my transactions. So with that, we're going to sign out. This is EB Crypto.